Welcome to Santos Brothers Eats.
Food worth mentioning. All right, we have a little bit of direction. So, all right, so welcome back to Santos Brothers Eats. I am here with my brother, Chef Jeff, and of course, I'm his brother, Kenny Santos, and we're going to be talking about food worth mentioning. And this episode is all about West Indian food. So if you like beef patties, or if you like jerk chicken, or if you like Caribbean food, that type of food, then we invite you to listen in. And because while we're not the biggest lover of spicy food, we do like our both East Indian and West Indian food we love. And so what are we going to talk about first here, Jeff?
Well, let's talk about Jamaican patties. I understand that you went somewhere that was recently featured on Blog TO, and it had I think a Jamaican patty sandwich, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so that is Tata's hot sauce emporium. I actually had that like within the hour. So
Oh,
wow. I had it very recently. It was on Blog TO, and I thought, well, why don't I have a taste of this? It was not too far from here. So I intended on going, and I had a try. And it's called, again, Tata's Hot Sauce Emporium. It's like at St. Clair and O'Connor in Scarborough. It's on a little street called Rexley. And if you want to look it up, their website is Tata's, T-A-T-A, hotsauce.com. And when I showed up, of course, they're practicing all the social distancing and all of the safe things that we got to do. And so there's a lineup outside.
That's good.
Yeah, it's about a 10-minute wait outside, and then another 10 minutes to get my food once I had ordered and come back out. And so they have all these different sandwiches and all these different arrays, but apparently that place is all about the jerk chicken sandwich, and they add on more and more, kind of like, as you know, there's deluxe and the super deluxe. I ended up getting the super deluxe, and the super deluxe is the jerk chicken sandwich, and inside that jerk chicken there's great layer of jerk chicken, of course, all the fixings, lettuce and some cheese, and they have their signature hot sauce, which, you know what, I'm not a big hot sauce fan necessarily.
No, that's right.
But I would consider buying this hot sauce. That's how good it is. It's not that hot.
Oh, really?
It's not that hot, but it is. It's not like burn your tongue hot, but it's so tasty. It tastes so good, and so I would consider buying it. And so inside there's a jerk chicken. There was also one of those Jamaican beef patties, and of course they sell patties if you just want to get those, but I wanted to have that full experience, because that was what was featured on Blog TO. So I ended up getting a patty, and you can get a chicken patty, a beef patty, a spicy beef, mild beef. You could even get a vegetarian patty. And apparently, looking at their menu, there is a vegan option for the super deluxe. I don't know how they'd pull that off. They're obviously have some sort of vegan jerk chicken or something. So I don't know exactly how that works. Maybe they're making it, maybe it's just jerk tofu. I don't know what they're doing.
No, maybe it could be, yeah.
Yeah, so it could be that. And when I got it, it was wrapped up in the foil. They said, Kenny, and they brought it out to me, and I took it and actually just went to the car and I just ate it. And the first thing I remembered was when I opened it, it was huge. It was giant. It is not the most Instagrammable sandwich. Just, maybe there's a better picture on their website, and if there is, we'll certainly post that. I did take a picture of it, but it's not the greatest picture because I just wanted to eat it. But I'll tell you, the moment I opened it, the smell was so incredible. Now, normally not Jamaican, but jerk spice or jerk chicken, it is a Scotch bonnet and allspice. And of course, everyone has their different, family secret recipes, but if you're going to be making it, it has to have those two things. It has to have the Scotch bonnet. It has to have the allspice, and that's what makes jerk chicken. This jerk chicken was really tasty, really tender, but it wasn't all that, burn your tongue off hot, which I really, really liked. And it was nice when I had it in the sandwich. It was texturally, just like, like a good roast chicken or a grilled chicken would taste, and it went well with the cold lettuce and the tomato that was in it, and the cheese that was in was, because it was all wrapped up, had melted all over the chicken.
Oh, nice.
So good. And then they had slid a patty, a Jamaican beef patty. So it was a lot more, bread in there. But as you guys know, inside that Jamaican beef patty, there's meat in there, and that meat is it's more than ground like a hamburger. It's almost mushy, like
Yeah,
not quite like mashed potatoes, but it's mushier.
that's
And
right.
and actually, that contrasted with the grilled chicken, contrasting with the the crispness of the lettuce and the meltiness of the cheese, and it was a nice soft. I think it was a cocoa bread bun, so it was
Oh, wow.
just so tasty. That was a
Right.
huge sandwich, and I probably finished it in like 5 minutes. I just couldn't stop eating it. And surprise to me, like I had a big bottle of water ready for me because I wasn't sure if I could handle the spice. I only drank the water because I was thirsty, because I was eating. I didn't drink the water
Hmm.
because it was too spicy or anything. I give this sandwich, man, I'd say give it an 8, maybe an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm a little bit more, like it's hard for me to give out 9s and 10s, but it was really, really good.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. I would get that again in a heartbeat, and I would order that hot sauce, or I'd buy it, for home.
So the hot sauces are the different levels of heatness for that sauce. Like I think the taste of it would actually attract me more if I knew there was a version that wasn't as hot, or if there's different levels of heat.
I'll tell you, Jeff, like I would be very I'd be very surprised if you found this too spicy. Like I'd be
Okay.
very, very surprised if you found that too spicy.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
just so people
yeah.
know, it's actually their place of business is actually called Tata's Hot Sauce Emporium.
Yeah, Tata's Hot Sauce
Um,
Emporium. Yep.
so I guess they did hot sauces first, and then they expanded into the restaurant business, just so they could showcase off their sauces. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I overheard some people, because there was a lineup, like, about 10-minute lineup, and I heard some people saying, I've been buying I first found out about them because I bought some hot sauce off of them at a craft show.
Oh,
I think they said like maybe it was at the CNE, that
yeah, yeah.
like a booth there,
Hmm.
and that's how I found out about them. And I think they're about 4 years old now, and so they were all about the hot sauce. And now they have this restaurant that's grown to be very popular. I don't know if today was popular simply because of the Blog TO post, or if it's always that popular. I have no idea.
I have a feeling that places like that, like it's more of a mom and pop shop,
Hmm.
where they do have a dedicated fan base,
Yeah. Oh,
and so it would always be busy. It's one of those
yeah.
places that people are struck to, and they will keep it. I'm just on their website now, and they talk about the hot sauce. It's a family tradition. What makes it different is that their hot sauces are infused with your choice of pineapple, mango, or papaya, and they're separately used in order to provide a different yet fun, exciting, and flavorful hot sauce experience. Moreover, Tata makes a milder hot sauce, or extra hot, for your flavor. So, which is good for us, because then if you do enjoy it, then maybe we can get the milder hot sauce.
Dude,
I
if
think
they
for
made
me,
like
the
a
mango.
mango, yeah, a mango like if I had known that I could get a mango, like I didn't
Yeah.
know. I just went in there and said, "Give me the super deluxe," and they said, "Do you want everything on it?" And I said, "Yeah, put everything on it." And I ended up getting a mild patty.
Okay.
I usually have a spicy patty when I'm having a patty,
Oh, really?
but
All right.
I was just afraid that this hot sauce, because they're all about this hot sauce. The place is called the
Yeah.
Hot Sauce Emporium. I was afraid I was going to burn my tongue off, so I got the mild,
Correct.
and I really, really enjoyed that sandwich. Like I
Okay.
would welcome going back there with
All
you,
right.
Jeff. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So let me get this straight. So it was a nice soft bun,
yeah.
and then pieces of jerk chicken, and you said tomato. Was it lettuce too? Or coleslaw? I think I heard
No, it was lettuce. It was not
lettuce.
coleslaw.
Okay.
Yeah, just like iceberg lettuce, not like
Yeah.
romaine or anything. That's
Okay.
iceberg.
And
And
then
then
a patty that was split open,
no,
or was it?
the patty was not split open.
Okay, it was that's
Uh,
whole.
it was just left whole, so kind of like a sandwich, just kind of like a sandwich with another patty inside, and then jerk
Right.
chicken on top of that with cheese. There may have been mayonnaise. I can't remember if there's mayonnaise on it or not. Like, but
Okay.
there was like I remember looking. I was about halfway through the sandwich, thinking, "Where's the hot sauce?" Like that's how mild it is. Like it's very mild. And I remember looking at the bun because it's a cocoa bread bun. It's very soft, and I could see it soaked into the bread. And I said, "This is the stuff that tastes really good." And it's not even that hot. Like I don't even know what's called hot sauce, which to me is a compliment because it tastes really, really good to me. Like I love that hot sauce.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, again, a solid 8.5 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah. Well, if you recommend it, then I might. Yeah, when we get together again, we'll try it for sure. I'm gonna say why not. Now you mentioned that when you eat patties, you usually get a hotter patty.
Yeah.
So is there a reason why? Is it because it's the taste of it?
Yeah, just a taste. If I'm at a place, I usually like a spicier patty. But I mean, if there's only a mild available, I'm perfectly happy with that. And like I've tried like veggie patties, and they're okay. Like I don't hate them or anything, but I'd rather just get a beef patty. And I've tried the chicken as well. At different places, and again, they're okay. It's fine. It's not like super exciting, but I would just rather get in order of preference. It's probably spicy, then mild, then chicken, then veggie, and those are the four. Those are the main four. And that's the order. And if I end up getting a veggie because there's nothing left, I'll be fine. Like it's filling and it's good. So
nice. Now you mentioned places. Now, where is your go-to place to get a Jamaican patty?
Well, just because I used to. Well, I don't know if I'll ever go back there again because I don't like going on the TTC anymore. But
yeah.
I would get mine at Warden Station.
Okay.
Being a Scarborough guy, I often get. Sorry about my phone in the background. Let me shut that off. So,
no. Okay.
Hold on a second. There we go. So yeah, I usually go to Warden Station to get those just because that's what's convenient for me. And there's actually 2 bakeries at the Warden Station. I go to, how do I explain? Because they're like right beside each other. If you're looking at both of them, I go to the one on the right. That's all I can tell you. Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't one of those bakeries Filipino or have the Filipino flair to it? Or is it something else? Is it another place I'm thinking of?
Absolutely, yeah. It does have a Filipino flair to it. They have Filipino spaghetti and they have leche flan there.
Nice.
Well, now, they don't call it Filipino spaghetti. They just call it spaghetti, but I've had that spaghetti, and it tastes like Filipino spaghetti.
And it's Filipino.
Yeah.
And is it the place that has the patty that you like? Or is it the other place?
Actually, it is. Yeah, that is the place that has the patty that I like. Yeah, I don't even ever go into the other place.
All right. So just for those people, our listeners who don't live in Toronto, there was last year, I'm looking at the news, and because I'm not a big patty fan, but Ken is, and this sort of interests me as well. There was a big argument on where the best Jamaican patty was, and for some strange reason, it was at actually there's 3 TTC stations. Sorry, 4. The top contenders were Bathurst, Kennedy, Warden, and Islington. Now, for those of you who don't live in Toronto, Kennedy and Warden are on the east end of Toronto. Bathurst is sort of just west of downtown Toronto, and Islington is all the way at the west end of Toronto. And then it did come down to Warden and Bathurst. And according to social media, Bathurst Station was declared Toronto's best patty. Now, have you had the patty at Bathurst Station, Ken? Like, I don't go that far west. Okay.
I have had it. I mean, it's an okay patty. The advantage that Bathurst would have is that place, if I remember correctly, that place is an actual bakery. So maybe it's just the way that they bake it. And so I don't know. I don't know. It's very good. One of the first times that I ever had patty and cocoa bread. Have you ever heard of that, Jeff?
I haven't, but is it like a Hawaiian bread, or am I thinking something totally different?
No, cocoa bread is a Caribbean bread, and so there's kind of 2 types of bread. There's the hardo bread, which you're familiar of, which is nice and dense.
Hardo, I know you. Yep.
Yeah, and then there's the cocoa bread, which is light and fluffy, and it's more. If I understand correctly, it's more of a bun, so it doesn't come in a loaf.
Right.
And I could imagine some Caribbean people listening to this thing. Yeah, it does. But the way I've seen it, it's always like a nice fluffy bun. And so you split that in half. And then the first time I ever had a patty and cocoa bread was actually at Warden Station.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, but I saw people eating it. So I thought, I'm going to give this a try. And it's pretty cool. The thing about it is that if you're not too much into spice, and if you find a beef patty a little bit too spicy, if you have it with the cocoa bread, because there's a lot more bread and starch around it, it really tones it down a lot. But the flaky crust on the patty, contrasting with the fluffy soft bread is actually kind of nice. It's actually really, really nice. And so it's nothing that I would necessarily order on a regular basis. If I'm kind of in the mood for it, I would, but that's like once every year or once every 6 months that I would think of that. I'd rather just have a patty on its own. And here's something.
Quick question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Quick question. Like when they do put it into the cocoa bread, do they add like a spread like butter or something, or they just add it in as is, like dry, and then you enjoy it like that? Okay.
It's just dry, but it's a nice moist. It's nice and moist. Think of it as like a fluffier like pan de sal. Like it's nice and light.
Okay.
It's good. And here's something, man. Some people might think I'm crazy for saying this, but actually, you've kind of mentioned this a little bit before. But if you want to have a good patty, or maybe not a good one, but an acceptable patty. All right. And I would say that as far as Warden compares to Kennedy Station, Warden is hands down better than Kennedy.
Yeah.
And Kennedy, there's something about the crust on there that's dry and hard. I don't like it. I'm always dissatisfied.
Okay. But actually, in that poll, Kennedy was the fourth out of four.
There we go.
So Kennedy had 15.1% of the votes.
Okay.
Islington had 21%. Warden had 28.3%. And Bathurst had 35.6%.
Oh yeah, so that clear winner, Bathurst.
Oh
right? Yeah, clear winner.
Exactly right.
So if you're in for a Jamaican patty, unless you can find an actual Caribbean like restaurant, they're obviously, or not obviously, but they should have better quality patties than other places.
They should.
Rabba actually has
Rabba again.
Yes, Rabba has good patties.
Hilarious.
They have, and I've talked to my Jamaican friends. They're like, yeah, Rabba has really good patties. Some of them are like, yeah, I would love to go to and have their patties. So obviously it depends on the Rabba location.
Yes.
Obviously that depends. But, if you want to try it out and you want to make sure you don't get a hard, like a very unsatisfying patty if you're hungry, is something that's hard and dry. I mean, the inside's always going to have like the nice moist meat, but if the outside pastry isn't nice and flaky and soft, it's just disappointing. And I've never had a bad patty at Rabba. So just something to keep in mind.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So Rabba's known for their Portuguese tarts and their Jamaican patties now. So
yeah,
it's like a whole taste of the world right there.
Absolutely. And actually, I don't even know if every Rabba offers Jamaican patties. So
that's the thing too. Like you never know. But like I said, when I went to a Rabba to find Portuguese tarts, and they did have them, like wow, that's incredible. And it was like way further than a Rabba that I usually go to.
Nice.
I just found that really funny, and I guess so. You never know.
You really don't. You really never know. Like it's pretty good stuff. So that's, I highly recommend this place. Again, it's called Tata's Hot Sauce Emporium. And if you're not into spice, don't let the name throw you off. Really don't let your name throw you off.
Yeah. So you mentioned Jamaican patty in the sandwich. So I'm not a big fan of either a patty or jerk chicken. However, one of my favorite West Indian foods is oxtail, braised oxtail.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of braised meats to begin with. Like I think I mentioned this before in episode 1. My favorite dish to make and to eat is ossobuco, which is an Italian dish, braised veal leg. But oxtail also falls up there as well. And as the name says, it is a tail of an ox. Basically, that's what it is. So they have a tail, and there's a lot of different bones in the tail. So they have to sort of cut the tail where the connective tissue is, or the cartilage is, just so it has a nice clean cut. Of course, the tip is thinner, so it's small pieces of meat, but as you go down to the base of the tail, the bones will become bigger. So they'll have to freeze part of the tail, or if not the whole tail, and have to cut it on a bandsaw just to make sure that it is bite-sized pieces. To get it from there. The braised oxtail, and because it is a working muscle, that's why they braise it, because they move the ox to the cow, move the tail, swat the flies, it is a working muscle. So in other words, and the best way to get the meat nice and tender is to braise it. One of the dishwashers at the college, she was from the West Indies, and whenever we had oxtail, she'd always ask me for some, and she'd give it back to me, and it was a cooked version, and it was just so good. And she made dumplings with it, like basic dumplings in West Indian tradition, from my understanding, is just basically flour and water and a bit of seasoning. And as the braising liquid, as its tail would braise, it take several hours. They would add the dumplings maybe in the last hour or so, because it doesn't take that long. But yeah, the meat would almost be falling off the bone. You would still have to sort of gnaw on the bone to get every morsel. And
nice.
The cartilage, I'm a big fan of eating the cartilage. Just sucking back any that tendon is just so good. Over some rice. Yeah, that's good. I lived in Brampton with people that that are listening to us in the Toronto area. Brampton is known for its sort of West Indian and East Indian population. I did try to find other locations for braised oxtail, and one of the better ones is actually a chain called Sunrise Foods. They had braised oxtail there. They had jerk chicken. They had other stuff like that. But I was for the braised oxtail.
When you go to like a place like that, like Sunrise, is it just called braised oxtail? Is it called oxtail soup, or what? Like, what is it called?
Oh, it's usually just called oxtail. You just see oxtail.
But it's served like in a bowl, right? There's an actual sauce to it, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of sauce, and I always ask for extra sauce because I get it with rice as well. Yeah.
And I want to mention something here to any of our listeners that are thinking like they're getting turned off by eating oxtail. Like if you haven't had it, like try it. It is so, like, if you like eating ribs, like how there's that connective tissue on ribs, and as you get closer to the bone, there's sometimes that little bit of cartilage, like that's all over the oxtail, which is why it's so sought after. And I bet you at one time oxtail was really cheap, but now it's getting more to the expensive size because every cow or every ox only has one tail. I mean, it has four legs, right? And has a lot of meat, and but the actual tail is a small portion of it, but it's one of the best portions, and it is very, very tasty. Just the combination of the fat, the tendons that slowly braise, that just really puts all this flavor in, is spectacular. And so I just want to really clarify that as we kind of go along there.
Yeah, and like a lot of foods like in the quote unquote third world areas like Jamaica, the Philippines, and parts of Asia, because when they have meat, they want to use every bit of the meat possible to feed their families.
Oh yeah.
So that's why they use every part. In oxtail, that's over time and tradition, they found the best way to prepare it, and braising the oxtail is one of the best ways to do it. So yeah, I like Ken said, highly encourage trying at least. You can. I'm almost sure that you could also ask for some boneless braised oxtail. It costs a bit more because they have to spend time taking the meat off the bones, but so the flavor would be there for you. And it's just one of my favorite West Indian dishes to try. So let's close off with a restaurant that we've both been to with West Indian food. That's Drupati's.
Yeah, and I've actually had one of my friends. He's not from Jamaica. Where's he from? He's from Trinidad. He called it Drupati's. Okay. And and I really don't know what it's pronounced. Because I talked to my other friends and they call it Drupati's too. So I really don't know how to say it. There's at least 2 locations. I could think of 3. There's an Ajax, there's a Scarborough, and that would be Brampton. That's Chinguacousy would be Brampton. Yeah, that would be not Mississauga, it would be Brampton. So there's at least 3 locations, and it's a Caribbean foods place. Usually when we go, Jeff and I will grab a roti. And so just because we like our wraps and sandwiches. And so the roti that we would usually get is the goat, right, Jeff?
I'm a big fan of the goat myself, only because you don't really get it anywhere else. Like you can get chicken, beef, for other dishes. Lamb, sometimes you can, but I think goat, for me, that's one of my favorite, goat roti.
Yeah, that you do make a good point, because you don't get goat anywhere else really. Like I can't think of
No,
like other cuisine, and that maybe just shows how uncultured I am, that really has goat available and like quote unquote it's normal to eat there.
correct.
So yeah, usually yeah, and places like that, like Drupatis or Drupatis, they have different types, and so you could have either a chicken roti or a beef roti or a goat, and with or without the bone. And of course, since it's in a wrap, like inside of a roti, then of course I would like it boneless. Like I don't like eating a
Oh
chicken
yeah,
sandwich with bones in it. It just doesn't. It's just
no.
weird to me. So, but it's a little bit more expensive. I mean, it costs a little bit more, but it's worth it to me just because
Mm-hmm.
it's just a lot easier to eat. I can
Yeah,
imagine
exactly right.
like we usually sit down and eat, somewhere, but I would hate to eat a sandwich with bones in it while I'm driving or something. That would be very difficult. So
No, that's true. And especially
yeah.
especially a roti because it's so moist and juicy, and the sauce comes in. Sometimes will leak out into the wrap itself.
Yeah, and so
Um,
for our friends that don't know what roti is, what is it, Jeff?
Basically, roti is the actual the shell. It's the bread. So it's like picture a tortilla or a pita. It's sort of the West Indian version of that.
Precisely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
like a
don't know how
West
it's
Indian
made exactly.
flatbread.
I know there's
Yeah.
flour. Yeah,
Well,
but
hold on a second.
there's
Is
something they
roti
do with
also
it.
East Indian too, though, or no?
It is. Yeah,
So it's not West Indian. It's more like just Indian, I guess. If it's
much
East
more
Indian,
Indian.
and,
Yeah,
yeah, it's West Indian and
exactly
East
right.
Indian, but it's like their version of the pita or their version of the tortilla or
Right.
that's what it is. Yeah.
But they do something to it. I think that the way they beat it or something, because it's very flaky. Like compared to a tortilla or a pita or even flatbread, it's just very flaky. Like there's like layers of pastry upon itself, which and the flavor itself is really good. But just the flakiness of roti is really attractive to me.
Maybe they fold it more when they're flattening it out.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Maybe it's something as simple as that, but it is flakier. There's a certain, like I love all flatbreads, but there's a certain uniqueness out of roti that I seem to like. But yeah, again, I like all flatbreads. And then of course, if you go to a place like that, they might ask you if you want it spicy, mild, or extra spicy, and then you get to what you like. And usually me and my brother, we get it on the less spicy side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you
Exactly
mentioned
right.
dumplings earlier on.
Hmm.
There is a dessert that we usually get. I think it's called pilori or filori, and basically every culture has a version of taking dough and frying it. And so that's the Caribbean version. Well, actually, is it the Caribbean? I think that's a Trinidad, because the Jamaicans have a dumpling called festival. Have you heard of that,
Oh,
Jeff?
okay. Yes, I did. I have heard of a festival. Yes.
So it's festival, which is just fried dough, but then filori is fried dough. And I haven't done a side-by-side comparison. And maybe some people that are listening to this are going to say it's the same thing, or they're going to say, no, Kenny, it's different because of X, Y, and Z. But I haven't done a side-by-side, so I don't know. Usually when I've had festival, it's not as sweet. It's more of
Okay.
I don't know. I've had it. It's more of like, it's like a plain donut. You ever have a
Right.
plain donut? It's like that. And then,
Oh, yeah.
and filori is like, I think it actually has sugar on it, like when I've had it. So like a Tiny Tom donut kind of thing, so
Right.
not cinnamon and powdered sugar, but just, the sugar on it. And
That's
so,
right.
but anytime I could have fried dough, like I don't care what country it's from, I'm probably going to take it, like, cause it's
No, it's true.
tasty. It tastes so good. So
That's it. Now,
uh,
one thing you mentioned, you sort of introduced me to, is doubles.
yes.
I never had double until you mentioned that to me, and we were actually at the Scarborough Drupatis, and we got some. So why don't you explain what double is as well?
A double. So usually it's served, if I remember right, it's served inside of a roti. And then it's
Like
made
a smaller version. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's made out of garbanzo beans, or some of you may know them as chickpeas. And I honestly don't know how it's prepared. Like it's kind of saucy, so it's kind of, if I remember right, it's like ladled in, but it's not too wet,
No.
and it's not all that spicy for the most part. It's not spicy that way, but it is it's tasty, and it's I would imagine it's vegetarian or something, like, 'cause there's no meat in it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I guess for our friends that, if they're going to go West Indian and they don't want to have goat, chicken, or beef, then they can have doubles instead. And
Right.
so there's a little bit of, are you outside, Jeff? There's a little bit of wind on the microphone or something.
No, I'm sorry. It's just me. I apologize.
Okay. That's okay. So yeah, but those are doubles. Usually if I get doubles, it's either because I'm not that hungry or I just really want them.
Okay.
But like, kind of like what we would do, like we would each get our roti and then we'd split the doubles, because it's just not as satisfying alone. Like,
no,
like I'd be hungry still if I just had doubles,
Okay.
unless I had two of them or something, So yeah, I was gonna say, if you're ever at a Caribbean place and you see roti and doubles, that's what doubles is. Doubles is like a chickpea type of dish, but it's not hummus. It's
whole
Caribbean.
chickpeas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly right.
And I like
I just
them.
want to give a shout out to another place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're good. When I first had them, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, I was like, I guess that's why they sell like 2 or 3 per price, because they are smaller. I guess it's more like an appetizer, and then anything else.
Maybe that's what they're meant for. Like, they're not meant for the meal.
True.
So yeah, that's probably what they're for. But I do like them. I do like them. Yeah.
One more place, also in Scarborough, and actually we went there together. It was Mona's Roti on Shepherd Avenue.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that had good roti, I got the oxtail, or maybe I got they sell oxtail there on their website. I'm not too sure what we got, but what I liked about the place is that when you walk in, you see all these ladies making roti, like fresh roti, and there's music going, they're all singing, they're just having a good time, making roti, and like a lot of roti as well. And it was just amazing how busy it was. Now, this is before the pandemic, so I remember we had to wait outside, and when we got in, it was still full, but the line just kept moving. They're making roti, and people were just happy to be there. And I'm almost sure we got maybe a goat and a chicken roti. I think that's what I remember from this place, but it was good roti. Yeah, it was really good. I was really impressed by this one.
Well, let's think about it. If you're going to have a roti, do you want to have it with a place where everyone's singing and happy, or do you want it from a kitchen where everyone's angry? Obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
You're going to go for the happy place, right? Because it's made
exactly
more with love, and that secret ingredient of love is it's more powerful than we can imagine sometimes when it comes to food. So yeah. So what's that place called again in Shepherd?
It's called Mona's Roti, and we'll have the link on our site. But it's in Scarborough. It's on Shepherd, just in between McCowan and Markham.
Yeah.
And actually on their site, they have a lot of mentions on City TV, Blog TO. So they are quite known already. So they have some credibility, some street cred.
So that's food worth mentioning this week. And just as a recap, we talked about Sunrise. Actually, what's their full name, Jeff? Is it Sunrise Caribbean Foods or?
Yeah, Sunrise Caribbean Food.
Okay, Sunrise Caribbean Food, and then earlier on I talked about Tata's Hot Sauce Emporium, and then we got Nona's. What's the full name there?
Mona's Roti.
You know what? That sounds a lot more familiar, and I could actually picture it now. Yes,
yeah.
Mona's. Okay, Mona's Roti.
That's right, and Drupadi's, of course.
Oh yeah, Drupadi's, yeah, or Drupadi's. We don't know how we don't know how to say it. So, but we recommend all those places, and certainly that is food worth mentioning. And we look forward to the next time we talk about more food worth mentioning. Next time, right, Jeff?
That's right. And then until that time, remember this quote from Julia Childs: "People who love to eat are always the best people."
And of course, that includes my brother, Chef Jeff, and his brother, me, Kenny Santos, and you as well, if you love to eat food worth mentioning. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye. That's a wrap.
You've been listening to Santos Brothers Eat.
Food worth mentioning.